Hey everybody, Ami here. I just wanted to make a little video for you about meditation and wanted to talk about three different types of meditation. These are, I would say, the most important types of meditation that you can use for different effects. So I'm going to talk about these three types of meditation. So the first one's going to be mantra, then breath, and then metta meditation. And then I'm going to talk about why we have trouble with meditation and how we can use our minds and the difficulties that arise in meditation to get deeper and also to help us in our daily lives. So first type of meditation I'm going to talk about is mantra meditation. This is the meditation I started out with, when I started meditating years ago. Was using the word Om. Now you can use any word that you like, and the idea is you sit in a comfortable position, your back straight, your eyes closed, turn the lights out, try to remove sounds from your environment. But this is not that important. People think you need to be in a perfectly quiet environment. Well, I lived in a monastery for a little while, and there's no solitude. I mean, you have sounds, you have the dangers of scorpions coming, you have and biting you, you have tarantulas, if you're meditating in your little kuti, or it's a tin roof, there's sounds everywhere. You'll never escape sounds. So that's not the point of meditation. It's not to to make yourself a perfectly isolated soundproof room to be able to meditate, and I'll tell you why that is in a moment. So mantra meditation, the idea is you sit with your back straight, eyes closed, remove any unnecessary noises. If you have a quiet part of your house, go ahead and do that, and then you just relax, and then you start repeating your mantra. And what happens is you'll find the mind goes away into different thinking patterns and thought streams and discursive thoughts. And then you realize, oh man, I'm not repeating my mantra anymore. But the point is you want to bring it back. And this is what mindfulness is. It's called sati in the Pali Canon. So this is where you're really training the mind to come back to a collectedness, and the idea is to be able to achieve jhana, which is what the Buddha called blameless pleasure. Now, I don't recommend really necessarily mantra meditation for this, although it can get you there, but you have to put it down when you get to jhana. Probably gonna have to make another video about jhana because it's just such an important topic, but I'm just going to talk about these basics of meditation in this one. And so mantra meditation, you repeat your mantra. It doesn't matter the pace. I would say probably not too fast. Say you're using Om, or you could use the word love or God or whatever it is for you. It doesn't really matter the word is not that important. They do have meanings for you, and if it has a nice meaning, that's wonderful. Definitely don't want to use anything that has a negative meaning. So you repeat Om, for example, your mind travels away, and what you want to do is not just be like, you don't beat yourself up, oh man, it's traveling away again, because what that does is it introduces hindrances into the mind. It doesn't introduce them, it makes them known. So I'll just talk briefly about the types of meditation, and then I'll talk about the 5 hindrances that prevent you from meditating. So there's mantra meditation. Repeat the mantra. Your mind travels away, you come back. Repeat the mantra, repeat the mantra, repeat the mantra. The next type of meditation is watching your breath. And there are really a couple of ways of watching the breath. The one is you can feel your belly rising and falling, and you can use a mantra with it as well for a little while, but ideally you want to get to the place where you're just watching the breath. So you could say, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out with your breath. or you could say rising, falling, in, out, or whatever. So this is a great meditation. The breath, especially when you can let go of the mantra and just be with the breath, because then you're really seeing reality as it is. It's the meditation the Buddha used to reach enlightenment. It was called Anapanasati. He didn't use mantras, although that doesn't mean they're not useful. So the Anapanasati, as you watch your breath, you have to let go of controlling it, and that's what we do so much in our lives, is try to control our lives, our minds, other people, our circumstances, and in the end, we really don't have any control. I mean, we have to try to direct our lives in a positive way, but in the end, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna get sick, and you can't really control it. You can influence it, you can't ultimately control it. So being with the breath as it is a very important tool, and watching the belly is helpful. You can also try to feel your breath at your nostrils or on your upper lip. That's quite a bit more difficult. I don't really recommend that unless you're doing it in a retreat. And to be honest, that's a little too focused, in my opinion, because I'm not going to knock it though. I think it's a little too focused for me anyways, because it's very difficult, and you'll spend so much time with your hindrances that you won't really get anywhere unless you're in a deep, long 10-hour a day retreat for 10 days. You really will have a difficult time. It takes it takes about 3 or 4 days at 10 hours a day to really start to feel that breath in a real way. And I'm not exaggerating whatsoever. So that's why I don't recommend that. You can notice the belly right away, so you get the benefit without struggling so hard, because you don't want to have to struggle so hard in your meditation. That's not what it's all about. So I'll just mention the last method, which is one of my favorites, which is metta meditation, it's loving kindness meditation. And a lot of people will do this meditation by, the idea is you wish yourself, may it be safe and happy, may it be peaceful, may it be filled with love and joy, whatever. You give yourself good well wishes. So it's really late. I'm trying to stay up because I work midnights. And you give yourself good wishes, and then you spread that to somebody that you have perfect love for. It could be a baby, or it could be somebody you have no ill will towards whatsoever, or it could be your God, if you believe in God, or an angel, or it could be somebody that you have just great reverence for, that you have no ill will, and they inspire you, and you wish them, and then you wish a neutral person, and then someone that you have anger towards. So I do not recommend this method. This is the most popular way of you doing metta, but it's not what the Buddha taught, believe it or not. The Buddha did not teach this method of metta. In the Karyana Metta Sutta, he, and in many other suttas, he always speaks about spreading love and kindness in the 6 directions. In the Karyana Metta Sutta, I'm going to pull it up and just read a section for you, just so you can. I really recommend everybody read the Karyana Metta Sutta. It's just the most beautiful words I've ever heard in my entire life. In fact, why don't I read it for you? It's so short. This is what should be done by one skilled in goodness, and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and safety, may all beings be at ease, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small. the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart one should cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So if you listen to that, there was nowhere where it said to wish loving kindness for yourself. And you might think, well, I need to love myself. Well, that may be true as a method of kind of consoling oneself for low self-esteem, but ultimately the end goal and the end result of the spiritual path is the removal of a belief in a self. This is what the Buddha called anatta, or not self. He said that there are these 5 things that are not self, which are the 5 aggregates of clinging. So that the body, feelings, perceptions, sense desires, body, feeling, perceptions, I'm tired, consciousness, and sankharas, which is, sankharas are like volitional will, so choices. So it's like when you, instead of allowing something to be exactly as it is without going after it or wanting it or pushing it away, you have a choice, and you pursue it or you push it away. So these are the things that are considered not self. Didn't really say there is no self. He said these things are not self, and it includes consciousness. So surprisingly, for most people, I'm sure, to hear that. But the point I'm trying to get across is that the Buddha taught us how to do this meditation, which is loving kindness, and he said just all beings in all directions, boundless, radiant kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies, downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. So if you read other suttas, he'll say to the first direction, to the second direction, to the third direction, to the fourth direction, downwards and upwards. Those are the 6 directions. So front, side, back, inside, down, and up, and in all directions. So you don't need to wish it to yourself, because here's the thing. If you wish love and kindness for yourself and you're having low self-esteem, or you don't feel good about yourself, or you're depressed, it's very, very difficult. And I've been there. I've had a lot of troubles over the last number of years. I had some real anxiety problems, and I've got them under control now. Mostly after my dad died, but I had anxiety throughout my life, and it just got to a point where I had a real problem. So if you're in one of these places where you're having suicidal thoughts, or you're having a lot of depression or anxiety, it's very difficult to wish it for yourself. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I still do that. I still start with myself. But the real important thing is to spread it out to all beings. And what you want to do is you just want to feel, for example, you feel the front part of your body. You feel the whole front of your body. May I be safe and happy. And imagine that's like sending out the energy from the front of your body, this loving wish of harmlessness, of peace, of goodwill, to all beings in that direction. And I imagine like my energy or whatever extends out as a wall from my front and splits me in half, and really from my back to my front. So it's really my whole body. So you're feeling this with your whole body, and you're spreading this loving wish. And then this way, the whole body is spreading, and you're feeling feeling this wish. You feel it, and you spread this love, and you're feeling to the back and all the way back, all the beings behind me, for unbounded space and time, big or small. May they be safe and happy. May they be filled with love and joy. All the beings to the right, to below, all the beings touching this earth, may they be safe and happy. All the beings below me, may they be safe and happy. All the beings above, may they be safe and happy. All beings that breathe air or in the atmosphere, in space, in time and space above my body, may they all be safe and happy. And then you feel in all directions. So what I'll do, though, before I get to all directions, is I'll do both sides, front and back, up and down, and then all directions. And you do whatever you feel you need to. It doesn't matter. Maybe you only do one direction. That's fine. But wishing love and kindness is just so uplifting to the mind. It's one of the Brahma Viharas, which are like the sublime abodes of the godlike states that the Buddha talks about. So they're very, very important. The Brahma Viharas are 4 mind states that can be cultivated unlimited. So there's metta, upekkha, mudita, and karuna. So metta is loving kindness, upekkha is equanimity, karuna is compassion, and mudita is kind of like sympathetic joy. So like you're celebrating your gratitude for the joy of other beings. Oh, so sorry, I made you yawn. So this loving kindness meditation is very, very powerful. All of these meditations can lead to access concentration. I believe loving kindness meditation is the easiest to get into jhana. Access concentration is like the gateway into jhana. It's when you really start to settle, and you sometimes can see like a white light. So this video is getting long, but I hope you found some value in this. And I just want to go quickly into the 5 hindrances, because this is so important with meditation. Most people don't know about this. I would say 99% of the people I know that meditate don't understand the 5 hindrances. And this is one of the greatest gifts the Buddha gave us, was understanding the 5 hindrances. So I'm going to tell you an easy way to recommend it. This is not exactly the terminology the Buddha used, but an easy way to remember it. So it's wanting and not wanting, too much energy, too little energy, and doubt. So wanting, not wanting, too much energy, too little energy, and doubt. So wanting is really sensual desire. The first hindrance is sensual desire. So that's a desire of any of the senses. So desire for taste, desire for smell, desire for a feeling, desire for a sound, desire for a sight, desire for a mind object. So any of the senses, so any type of desire. When we have desire in the mind, we're not with our object, and we're not free from, because any desire is disturbing to the mind. So we really want to become free from desires, except for the Brahma Viharas. In meditation, I wouldn't recommend starting with the Brahma Viharas. You want to get to those a little bit after you've built some concentration, except when you're using metta, because you're using one of the Brahma Viharas as your object. So wanting, so this is sensual desire. So anytime that a desire comes, I want this, or I'd like this, or whatever, that is a hindrance to your meditation. That's keeping you from going deeper. So you need to let that go. And I'm going to tell you quickly how to let that go. I recommend Bhante Vimala Ramsey's 6 R's. So basically, you recognize the object, you release it, you relax, and you re-smile. And I really think smiling is such an important part. I've heard a lot of monks talking about it, and it really inclines your mind in the right way. So when you start meditation, before you start, you want to relax your body. You can go through, scan each part of your body if you want. Smile, and then start. Because the idea is to uplift the mind, free it from these lower desires, free it from hindrances. So wanting. If you have wanting coming up, or liking, or thinking about somebody you love, or you want to be with, or whatever you have a craving for, just, maybe be safe and happy. Relax. You can feel the top of your head. Relax. Re-smile, and then return back to your object. Not wanting is really ill will. The craving, aversion, wanting, not wanting, sensual desire, they're the same, but different grades of the same thing. So ill will is, when you have a negative thought towards yourself or another. And man, are our minds filled with negative thoughts, huh? It's like you have contact and something that you dislike. And really the thing is, the truth is, there's only craving. There's only tanha, the Buddha called it. T-A-N-H-A. It's tanha. So there's only really wanting. It's just the opposite of wanting. You want this thing that's in your mind, or this person, to go away. You dislike them. You have hatred towards them. So you want them to not be the way they are. So it's another way of not accepting things as they are. So this is the second hindrance. Third hindrance is restlessness and remorse. So this is where we get too much energy, restlessness. So this is any type of, I need to stop meditation. I can't do this. I can't concentrate. And agitated energy, too much energy. This is restlessness, trying to prevent you from reaching deeper states of meditation. So you have to recognize it's a hindrance. I release it, relax it, recognize it, release, relax, re-smile, return to my object. Sorry, it's 2:13 in the morning. I gotta stay up till like at least 6 or 7. And so we have restlessness and remorse. So anytime you have remorse, now I will say that remorse has a positive place in the spiritual path. It's not to be, thought that any remorse is bad and you should just be able to do whatever you want, and do whatever you want to any being without remorse. That's not the point. The point is in the context of meditation, it's unhelpful. And if we're living a life where we're not harming other beings in any way, then we won't have that remorse. So remorse comes up because of unwholesome actions and mind states in our past, and it comes back to us. So it's a good thing to acknowledge that there's remorse, and then you can reflect upon it later. But in that point of meditation, you just say there's remorse in the mind. Maybe you wish that person loving kindness quickly, or relax, and then come back to your object, whatever that might be. So the next one is too little energy. So that is sleepiness. Drowsiness comes up in meditation all the time. So this is actually one of the last hindrances that goes away in the path. I think the Buddha said that you'll have drowsiness all the way till the end. And so really this is very important to overcome. It's difficult, but it can be overcome. And when you do, this sense of energy arises. And the thing is, there's so much to understand about the Buddha's teachings that he taught us on how to travel the path. The Noble Eightfold Path is just, it's complete, it's full, it answers all your questions and gives you complete instruction on how to deal with the mind and cultivate it and shape it and purify it, and your heart, because they're really the same. So drowsiness is, the thing I noticed on my first meditation retreat, and I've done 6 of them, 6 10-day retreats, plus 2 on my own, and 2 or 3 on my own, with maybe 3 on my own, I guess. So drowsiness comes up, and the thing I noticed in my first meditation retreat was that there was always thinking when I became sleepy. So these hindrances are like entangled together. They can arise together. Now there is just sleepiness from being tired, and that can be overcome to some degree, but you do need to get enough sleep. We do need to get enough sleep. But if every time you sit down for meditation, I'm just so tired. I'm just nodding off. There's no point in doing this. I'm just going to go to bed. If you do that, then you're missing out on the opportunity to overcome this hindrance. There are 7 factors of awakening, the Buddha taught, and one of them is energy. So energy is very important to cultivate, and he gave a whole prescription of how to overcome sleepiness. I can't remember what sutta is, but if anybody wants to comment, I'd be happy to find that for you. But one of them is to imagine radiant light emitting from all directions. So you're gonna be sleepy. The first thing you want to do is to acknowledge drowsiness is here. This is one of the hindrances. You don't need to have this conversation. It's just an acknowledging and knowing it. It's here. I notice it, and it's a hindrance. It's something I can let go, and then through that understanding and acknowledging and letting it go, more energy will come. Each time you let it go, more energy will come. And if you really have trouble, imagine white light from all directions, moving out from all directions, or start with one white light. That will help. There are other things the Buddha said you can do, but I recommend just dealing with this white light coming out from all directions. Maybe connected to your crown if you know about the chakras. The Buddha didn't talk about that, but it's fine. So drowsiness is something to be overcome. It's going to come up in your meditations probably every single time, unless you have a lot of energy. Some monks have been known to drink coffee, believe it or not, to help them overcome this, because it's such a difficult hindrance, and it's not the ultimate way, but it's okay to use. The problem is with caffeine is that sorry, my phone died. That means the video's too long. So I was just mentioning how monks will often use coffee to overcome this hindrance, and it can be problematic though, because it can cause agitation. If you're stimulated, it's going to cause other hindrances to arise. So the body can affect the mind, and the mind can affect the body, of course. So you want to be careful using stimulants to stay awake. Although if you're really having trouble with meditation with drowsiness, I would recommend a little bit of caffeine or something, because we gotta do it. We gotta get somewhere. So the last hindrance is doubt, and this hindrance can be manifested in several ways. It can be, they're kind of linked together, but really, it can be doubt, personal doubt, I can't do this, I can't meditate. But that's kind of like restlessness as well. It's also a little bit of ill will towards yourself. It's also a little bit of wanting this to not be going on. I'm not wanting to meditate now because I can't do it. So they're kind of like tied together. So you want to try to, you don't want to sit and hyperanalyze these things while you're meditating, but you just acknowledge, okay, what is this? Whatever, and then you let it go. It's a split-second thing. It's not like a thinking thing. So doubt can be, I can't do this. And it's really also about, it's not just about yourself, but it's about this whole idea that meditation is going to work. And if you're following the Buddhist path, it's that the Noble Eightfold Path is a worthy path that is going to get you somewhere, and you doubt the path. But if you don't follow the Buddhist path, I respect that. It's really, that what I'm doing is pointless, and I'm not good at it, and I'm not going to achieve anything. So I should just get up, stop meditating, that doubt. So these things are all things that will draw you out of your meditation, out of your peace. And it's so important. So we have wanting, not wanting. So that's sensual desire, ill will, too much energy, too little energy. That's restlessness and remorse, and sleepiness or drowsiness. And we have doubt. So that's doubting whether I can do it, or whether I'm good enough, or whether the path that I'm on, the Buddhist path, or whether that meditation, this meditation I'm doing is going to work. So they might also result in you switching meditation methods. You do not want to switch meditation methods. When you sit down for meditation, you want to stick with your object of meditation. Absolutely 100% imperative. Because it's just giving into the hindrances if you switch. Now, if you switch every couple of days, I don't recommend that either. I recommend sticking with one method for some time. But in the end, you need to give your mind what it needs to feel peaceful. If there's too much agitation, you want to maybe do some body scanning and relax the parts of your body first. You can spend the whole meditation doing that. That's another technique. All these techniques, there are, there's no one technique that's going to free you. The techniques are all really to get us to the place of complete mental and physical stillness. Complete and utter stillness and peace. Because then, it's basically the mind works too fast. We want to understand how the mind works so that we can become free from it. And what happens is, as we move into the jhanas, this joy arises. Joy is such an important part of spiritual path, but it has to be unworldly joy. So unselfish joy. So loving kindness is like a beginning. It's in a beginning, but an advanced practice. It's a beginning, but advanced joy. But ultimately, the real joy doesn't have any thinking. So when we release these discursive thoughts, these five hindrances, again and again and again, they become weaker and weaker and weaker. And eventually, we become able to stay. There's nobody that cannot meditate. Nobody. So if you say that you can't meditate, it's because your hindrances have convinced you that you can't meditate. And that's the trick. That's what we need to overcome in our lives to become peaceful, is to overcome these five hindrances. There's a great article on Access to Insight called, I think it's called Using the Five Hindrances as Your Training Ground or something like that. If you're interested, ask me and I'll post the link below. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it because I always forget to post it in the comments anyways. But if you ask me a question, that'll be my reminder. So the five hindrances really are what we have to overcome. Those are the things standing in the way of our peace. And when those five hindrances drop away, we enter into the jhanas. In the first jhana, it has rapture as directed thought and evaluation, piti and sukha also. So this sense of bodily rapture and a sense of peace. Now that will arise. Basically, you meditate for a while, you let it go, you let it go, you let it go. You might start to see a white light, but you'll just start to feel, okay, you're settling, and then the thoughts start to settle. And then you might feel physical rapture, physical joy, physical pleasure. It might be somewhere in your body, might be in your chest, might be in your hands, might be in your forehead. And what you want to do is release when you start to feel that and it starts to become established. Don't go for it too quickly. When it starts to become established, you release your object of meditation and make that pleasure, wherever it is, wherever you feel it, your object. This is how you enter the jhanas. And then that becomes your object. And if it goes away too quickly, you haven't spent enough time with your object to gain sufficient access concentration so that you can access the jhanas. You're too much in worldly thinking and the hindrances still. So eventually it will become stable, and the pleasure, you can stay with it. And then you don't want after it, because of course that's another sensual desire. You just enjoy it. You just be with it. and let it, like, you surrender to it in a way, and you feel it, and then the Buddha says to spread it, like, the simile he uses is, like a soap maker. Can't remember the exact words, but using a soap powder, and you're making a soap ball out of it, and you suffuse and you saturate this soap powder, but you don't saturate it so much that it's dripping, and to make it into, so every bit of it has to have moisture, and you're forming this soap ball, and you spread it throughout the body. And then in the second jhana, the peace that's there, it's like the physical, it could be a mental pleasure, this rapture, it can be really like this whole blast of energy, or it can be very subtle, this tingling, or just a feeling of pleasure in the body somewhere, or warmth or something. Don't judge it, don't look for something, and don't try to create something, because that's what keeps you out of it. You just have to be with what is, and you've concentrated the mind enough, you've let go enough of the hindrances, that now this pleasure, this piti arises, and then you stay with that, and then there may be some floating thoughts just barely there in the background, but they won't be so hard to let go. They won't be important. They'll just be like background now. Before they were up here, and now they're back here, and you're at the forefront now. Not using these are conventional terms, but you're able to just let go, because your concentration is starting to solidify, starting to stabilize, and so the peace, sukha, is there, but it's lower, and there's this more like real, but then the peace comes, and then you're like, before it's like this joy, it's this real glowing, uplifting joy, and actually sometimes you'll even rise up, or you'll kind of start to move like this, or side to side. That's okay. Don't try to control it too much, but if it gets out of hand, just gently relax. You don't want to be like going like this or anything like that in your meditation. Is definitely not going to be good. But eventually you'll come out of the first jhana, and then the second kind of element becomes more dominant, and the pleasure becomes more secondary, and then you're more, instead of like, there's like really like this feeling of just immense joy, physical joy, mental joy, and then it becomes more like this, more like, so from like to like just mental, it becomes more of a peace in the body, and spread that feeling out into your body. Don't try to spread it too early, just enjoy it for a while. This takes a long time to get good at this. Become skilled at this. Let's not use the words getting good. And then eventually that shifts away into equanimity. So this type of equanimity where you are so peaceful, you're so settled that you could sit in meditation literally for as long as, I say wanted, but there's no wanting there. You're just so peaceful. It's just so incredibly peaceful. It's like you're at the beach and there's nobody there, and this warm sun is coming down upon you, and you're just so settled, so at peace, and you have no desire to get up. You could just stay here forever. The body is really getting more free of pain. You don't really feel so much pain anymore. You just feel really settled. And then the fourth jhana, you don't feel anything really in the body in the same way that You do and you don't, but you don't feel any pain. You don't feel any distress anymore in the fourth jhana. It's just full, deep equanimity, just so deep. And then you move into the mental jhanas. So we won't talk about those right now. But I just wanted to make this fit. I know this is very long. It's over 30 minutes, I think. So you're awesome if you stuck with it. Hope you found this useful. I'll try to make some in the future that are a little shorter, but it's really hard to, like, if you listen to Dhamma talks by monks, like, they're always like 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It's very difficult to talk about all these elements of meditation quickly, because you really need to go into the detail, because you need to understand them fully to be able to put them into practice. So just remember, you can use any of these methods. You can use really any method you want, as long as it's not an object of desire. If you're using, I'm not going to knock the law of attraction too much, but if you're trying to get something, that is not the purpose of meditation. That's a form of spiritual materialism, and this is not what meditation is about. I would even, say it's really not a meditation at all. It's trying to get something. The whole point of meditation is letting go, completely letting go. So you might say, well, if you're doing loving kindness or like metta, you're wanting to get peace. Well, not really. You're just wishing it. It's just like when you give somebody a gift, there's that initial kind of desire, but it's not like it's like just filled with joy. It's just filled with giving. It's not like, oh, I really need to give this. If I don't give this to them, oh man, there's no anxiety involved at all. It's just you know what? I really like to give this to them, this person. I'd like to offer them, this homeless person, some food or some clothing or whatever, like I really hope they're happy, really, really free from yourself whatsoever. But anyways, I could ramble on forever. I hope that you have success in your meditation. If you want some help, I may be able to assist you if you need to understand these hindrances a little bit better. I'm not a meditation coach or anything. I don't claim to be, but I do know a little bit about it. And I have spent some time with monks in Thailand. And I've lived at a meditation center. I've seen some negative aspects of certain things and certain viewpoints on meditation, this is the technique, this is the way, this is if you read the Buddhist teachings, you will not find a technique. And that's the truth, because it wasn't about techniques. It was about using your mind and inclining your mind in a certain way and steering your mind in a certain direction. And there are several ways you can get there, but you have to know the mental attitudes and the ways of using your mind skillfully so that you can get to this place. And you might say, well, we already are all enlightened or whatever. And I asked this question of the Ajahn Kavali of Wat Pa Nana Chat, where I was staying in Thailand. And he said, yeah, you could say that we're all enlightened already, but it's kind of like a mirror, and the mirror is perfect. It's true. The mirror reflects things exactly as they're. But he said it's kind of like. He said it's kind of like it's covered with mud. I was gonna say shit, but he said it's kind of like it's covered with. I don't think he said shit. I think he said mud. He said it's like there's mud on it, and then you go to clean it, like you go to meditate, and then you just end up smudging it around more. And so in the beginning of meditation, it seems to stir up more, and it does. It makes you aware that it doesn't stir up any more agitations or hindrances. It just makes you aware of the hindrances that were there all the time, functioning on a subconscious level. So you start smearing it around. It looks worse than it really is, but really things are starting to clear up. And the more you meditate, the more you let go, the more you relax, come back, re-smile, cultivate loving kindness, and just bring yourself to collectedness and stillness. Don't fight it. Don't want it. Just use that discipline and bring yourself back to your center. The more you do that, the more you will actually purify. But don't be fooled into thinking that once you've meditated and got to a certain place, that you're never going to become soiled again, and that mirror is never going to become defiled. It will. This path is about a constant effort. If you want to look up right effort, it's very important. And then in the Noble Eightfold Path, it's probably one of the most important parts of it, really. It's the effort to abandon unwholesome mind states and to prevent unwholesome mind states from arising. It's the effort to arise wholesome mind states and maintain wholesome mind states once they... So there's effort here. So there's an effort in meditation in your life. And we should never think that we've arrived. When we think we've arrived, then we're really becoming very deluded. So it's important to very much remain vigilant and to know that until we're completely, utterly at the deepest peace possible, and we never want anything, and we just radiate peace and love for all beings, and we never have disturbances in the mind, we're not there yet. So if there's desires, if there's wanting, if you have any possibility of suffering, you're not enlightened yet. I'm not. And we need to acknowledge that and be humbled about ourselves on this path and realize there's more work to do. The Buddha said it's very important for us to remain ardent, alert, and vigilant, and use effort. Right effort. If it says effort, it's an effort to do it, to walk the path. It's not something that you can't just surrender and say, oh, you have a certain belief system or whatever, or then everything's going to be okay. We really have to put some effort in. So these meditation techniques, the understanding of the 5 hindrances, the understanding of the 7 factors that lead to deep states of meditation that are kind of like stepping stones, are very important. Anyways, I'm sorry, this is a long video. I'm just going to end it here. I'm really tired. I love you. Take care. Peace.